The 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, gets thrown around like it's the cheat code to life. In economics, it means 20% of courses produces 80% of results. In business, it means 20% of customers drive 80% of profit. In fitness, 20% of exercise deliver 80% of results. But in the dating market, the talking point goes 20% of men get 80% of the women. It sounds sharp like a law of nature. But is it worth using as a lens for relationship, or is it just another recycled talking points from men who would rather quote statistics than build themselves? Let's look at the facts. The origin is economics. Bifredo Pareto, an Italian economist in the late 1800s, noticed that 20% of landowners in Italy controlled 80% of the land. He did not say anything about Tinder or Instagram models. He was talking about peace, property, and power. Over time, people noticed the rule applied in business, productivity, and social systems. A small portion drives the majority. Now, when this gets dragged into dating, the claim is simple. The top 20% of men, usually defined by looks, status, or resources, get the majority of female attention. On the surface, it checks out. Dating apps skew heavily. Plenty of studies show a small group of men get most of the likes. Walk into a club and you will see the same dynamic. The same few guys get approached while the rest fight for the leftovers. But here's where it goes wrong. The 80-20 rule wasn't written in stone. It's an observation, not a destiny. And when men adopt it as gospel, it becomes self-fulfilling. If you believe you are in the 80% destined to lose, you stop trying. You trade effort for excuses. You use the 80% 20 as a shield against rejection instead of mirror for growth. The deeper truth is this, my G. Attraction isn't distributed evenly, but it's not a monopoly either. The man with discipline, purpose, and presence can win even if he isn't in the 20% by Instagram standard. If all you consume is online stats, red pill talking points, and defeatist forum, you will convince yourself the game is unwinnable because you are what you consume. Let's zoom out with history. In every culture, resources and desirability weren't evenly spread. Pharaohs had harems, kings had concubines, chiefs had multiple wives. That's not 80-20, that's 95-5. Yet, even then, men outside the elite still built families, still found partners, still carried legacy. Why? Because life wasn't reduced to stats. It was rooted in community, character, and contribution. Fast forward to today. Dating apps exaggerate inequality because they amplify surface level filters. Swipe culture makes it feel like 80-20 is iron law. But step outside the apps and reality complicates things. Most relationships don't start on dating apps. They start through work, school, social circles, family, church, or communities. Studies out there are skewed when it comes to the opposite. Because the man who obsesses over 80-20 stats misses the bigger truth. The majority of people don't live in the app marketplace. Here's where the masculine truth hits. The 80-20 rule can sharpen you if you use it as motivation. It tells you that average effort won't cut it. That to stand out, you need to invest in discipline, health, purpose, and presentation. But if you use it as defeat, it corrodes you. It tells you the game is rigged. So why bother? It tricks you into bitterness, not betterment. Even outside dating, the rule teaches the same lesson. In business, 20% of effort produces 80% of results. But that doesn't mean you quit the rest of your work. It means you get smarter about what matters. In fitness, 20% of exercise drives 80% of gains. But that doesn't mean you stop training. It means you focus on the core lifts. In life, the rule reminds you of efficiency, not inevitability. So let's be clear. In the dating market, yes, some men dominate attention. Yes, the distribution skews. But no, you are not locked out unless you choose to be. The 80-20 rule isn't destiny, it's description. And descriptions don't indicate outcomes, they reveal challenges. The man who consumes stats without action becomes a prisoner of numbers. The man who consumes discipline and moves with purpose rewrites them. Different culture, same wisdom. In Yoruba proverb, the one who is prepared never lacks a place to sit. In Chinese philosophy, Confucius said the man who moves a mountain begins by carrying small stones. In Roman Stoicism, Epictetus reminded men it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. None of them said, wait for the 80-20 to pick you. They said, act. And here's the comedic truth. Men who worship the 80-20 rule end up quoting charts instead of building character. They become philosophers of failure. They can tell you the percentage, the trend, the math, but they cannot hold a conversation with the woman at the grocery store. They know statistics, but they don't know presence. They consume talking points instead of becoming men. So is the 80-20 rule worth using? In economics, yes. In productivity, yes. In fitness, yes. Even in dating, yes. But only if you use it as fuel, not fate. If you treat it as destiny, you lose before you start. If you treat it as a challenge, you sharpen yourself into a man who can thrive regardless of statistics. Because the truth is simple. You are what you consume. If you consume excuses, you will live by them. If you consume discipline, you will grow by it. If you consume defeat, you will embody it. And if you consume the 80-20 rule with wisdom, you will realize it's not about women at all. It's about how seriously you take your own development. So let's ask again. Is the 80-20 rule worth using or just a dating market talking point? The answer depends on what you do after hearing it, to be frank. Some will repeat it, blame the system, and keep scrolling. Others will hear it, sharpen themselves, and rise. Unless you believe the math of attraction is more powerful than the man you're becoming. Say it ain't so, my G. Say it ain't so.